Hey guys, how you doing? Evylyn here, welcome to another video. So 5.2 is just around the corner, literally 8 hours away from now. And the thing is, a lot of you are wondering how to perceive the talents and all the changes that have been made. Well, I'm here to give you guys my thoughts on all the changes and hopefully help you guys understand them a bit more. And just so you guys have something to look at, I'm going to be doing some arena footage in the background. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that too. Anyways guys, let's get started. Right, first off we have the benefit from haste and items and consumables increased by 50% for all warriors. Now I feel this is going to be a good change for us, especially when in battle stance, because when we change battle stance, haste is going to make us swing a lot quicker, hopefully generate a lot more rage. So when we're stancing in the arenas or anywhere, hopefully we'll do a lot more damage, because we'll be swinging a lot quicker, generating a hell of a lot more rage. I'm also considering going for a haste stack spec in 5.2, maybe see how that goes, but I'll let you guys know about that. Next up we have Bladestorm now provides immunity to disarm while active. Thing is, Bladestorm is going to be a really good move, especially for PvP, because AoE warrior arms is back in the game, and I'll explain why when we get down to the further ones. Bladestorm is going to be a really good talent. Just pop all CDs and jump into about 10 people and there's not much they can do. It might be still a good idea to use Die by the Sword just to reduce damage and parries and stuff like that. Anyways guys, I see I have a lot more warriors using Bladestorm. I mean, I like Bladestorm, it's really good. It can remove stuns as well. It's just a good all round talent. Okay, next up we have defensive stance now reduces damage by 15% instead of 25%. Well, this is a nerf, it's not much of a nerf. The thing is, at the moment warriors have way too much defense, and because of that nobody wants to switch to a warrior. And it's kind of wrong, because every class in the game should be able to be switched to and killed, and this effectively is balanced it out for warriors, so don't worry too much about it. It's not a problem. Just the thing is, while you're in defensive stance with shield wall, you still should be fine if you need to go defensive while being attacked in arena. Okay, so next up, Execute is now going to deal 15% less damage. Now you guys are wondering, is that going to be a good thing or a bad thing? The thing is, it's only a nerf to PvE in my opinion, because let's face it, Execute hits say 150k usually, to sometimes 200k, sometimes 250k, and the thing is 15% is probably like what, 130k, 140k, something like that, to about 190k, something. I don't know the exact numbers, but it's definitely going to be at least 130k, and anybody under 20% health is not going to be over 130k, so you're still going to effectively kill them. So don't worry about that, it's only going to affect PvE because basically the damage it does in PvE. Okay, so next up we have Shockwave. Shockwave now has a 40-second cooldown, was 20 seconds, and striking 3 targets will reduce the cooldown by 20 seconds. I see Shockwave still being good in RBGs and also 5v5s if you use it right. 4.3 we had Throwdown, which is basically 45 seconds. So I'm not too sure at the moment, but I think Shockwave still might be viable, so it's just hard to judge it at the moment because we haven't had arenas for 40-second CD. But if Cataclysm is anything to judge it by, I think we'll be okay. At the very least we can go Stormbolt. Okay, so next up we have Second Wind now generates 15 rage over 10 seconds instead of 20 rage when you're stunned. That's still pretty decent, it's not a problem. Remember, we'll be more in battle stance now, so don't worry too much about it. This is the big one that everyone's been using for quite a while. Warriors aren't going to have their charge and CC somebody for 7 seconds anymore, so you're going to have to think out of the box. And the best way to think out of that box to reduce is basically you're going to rely more on things like using Staggering Shout, or using Fears, or using your normal charge and then normal charge a second time, maybe with double time. That doesn't DR, so that's still 2.1 seconds, which is still almost as good as using Warbringer, but not as good. Now, thing is, Warbringer will also reduce the bow speed of the person by 8 seconds. Now this is a good choice if you're gonna go for, say, Blade Storm and Avatar and you want to go for a stun. You could go Warbringer for RBGs or War PvP or anything like that. It's what I've been doing lately and it's pretty good. I don't see it being viable in the arena to use Warbringer. It's not really my cup of tea. The 3-second stun is still there and it now deals with Shockwave and Stormbolt, so most people are probably not going to pick Warbringer for arena. Shield Barrier now scales approximately 10% less effectively with attack power. That's not a problem. Warriors had too much mitigation at the moment anyway, so don't worry too much about that. Basically it's more about the stuns when you're flag carrying anyway. So Stormbolt now deals 125% weapon damage, was 100. This is a slight increase to damage in Stormbolt. It's not a lot, but it's a slight increase. This effectively makes Stormbolt a more, I don't know what's the word, a more desirable talent. I know I'm going to be trying Stormbolt out. Stormbolt Blade Storm, Stormbolt Dragon Roar, maybe even a Stunlock spec, and maybe Stormbolt Warbringer might be a good idea too. Next up we have Enrage Regeneration now costs 30 rage instead of 60. This isn't really much of a change, guys. Most people are still going to prefer using Second Wind over Enrage Regeneration, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. Deadly Cam, now this is a big one. Most people don't think it is, but it's a big one. A lot of people effectively use Deadly Cam when using CDs, and this reduces the rage cost of using Heroic Strike, which most people were using the Glyph of Hindering Strikes. Now this means basically most people aren't going to use Heroic Strike much anymore. The only time Heroic Strike is going to be used is when you have an excess of rage. But I still think I might still use the Glyph of Hindering Strikes, just for the simple fact that when you cleave twice to people, you can also root them with Staggering Shout. Now Glyph of Insight, this is a prop warrior thing. It no longer activates Deadly Cam, but it instead activates the Moralizing Shout. This is a pretty good thing. Warriors doing a lot of RBGs might want to spec that for that. Glyph of Overpower is now the Glyph of Die by the Sword, and increases the duration of Die by the Sword whenever Overpower or Wild Strike is used. Now I can see this being a good change, especially when you're trying to get yourself and keep from dying. Like for instance, like let's say you're gonna die and you know you're gonna die. This could be a good choice, especially when you're fighting classes like Hunters or any melee. Glyph of Death from Above no longer increases the damage dealt by Heroic Leap. This can be bad and good at the same time. It's bad because we have the damage from, but I still think Death from Above is going to be a desirable glyph, because let's face it, nobody wants 45-second heroic leaps, we all want 30 seconds. So I think in certain situations, like especially in RBGs or especially in arenas, you're going to really want to be able to get everywhere as quick as possible. So people are still going to use this. Impending Victory will now heal the warrior for 15% of the maximum health instead of 10%. Well, this is still not good enough to be able to choose this over, say, the likes of Second Wind or anything. It might be good when you're leveling, because let's face it, you're not going to go too low in health, but other than that I wouldn't see any real benefits to this. The only way I would choose that is if it was 30%, but they're never going to do that. Okay, so arms changes. Taste of Blood has been redesigned, now causes the warrior to gain 2 stacks of overpower, maximum 5 stacks when Mortal Strike is used, and deals damage. 1 stack when the target dodges, and no longer interacts with Heroic Strike. This is another reason people won't be using Heroic Strike. Now requires level 20, and basically the thing about this is this can be used effectively good and bad. You can use it for heavy burst, or you can decide to just basically just keep going normally with normal 2 stacks. Now if you decide to stack up 5 stacks, you can use it quite good, or you can stack 4 stacks, then you could charge, you could use Overpower once, that would bring you up to 3 stacks, then Mortal Strike bring you back to 5, and pop CDs, and then just spam overpower and slam, overpower, slam, over slam, more strike, and then just keep it working it that way. Slam now deals 220% weapon damage, was 190, and now costs 20 rage, not 30. This is why people are going to be using slam, because of the fact that it's meant to be done that way, so you will use slam, because overpower is going to use 10 more rage now, so this is a real reason to use slam. Yeah, slam also hits like a truck, so just be aware of that. It just means warriors are going to have to use hamstring more in the rotation, where it's not a problem. Just remember that basically you just have to remember to keep refreshing it, that's all. Deep Wounds has its damage increased by 100%. I see this is a really good change, especially in RPGs. If you charge in and you thunderclap, it's going to do a hell of a lot more damage. This is where I was on earlier on about the AoE warriors. Thunderclap will do a hell of a lot of damage on all targets. Then you've got Whirlwind, now costs 20 rage for arms warriors instead of 30. So you could do Thunderclap, Whirlwind, Sweeping Strikes, Pop CDs, Blade Storm. That is a lot of AoE, that's a lot of damage, and you could effectively turn the game for people just doing that. Overpower costs 10 rage now, and it also reduces the Mortal Strike cooldown by 0.5 seconds. And this is where I was on about earlier, about stacking 5 stacks of overpower. This way you could just basically just spam 2 Mortal Strikes, at least 7 overpowers, and say 2 or 3 slams into somebody in the space of say 5-6 seconds. That should do a hell of a lot of damage, and combined with the damage on Deep Wounds, I see warriors doing a hell of a lot of damage next patch, so you guys should definitely look forward to that. Fury, Blood Surge now reduced the rage cost of wall strike by 30, was 20, and its duration is increased by 15 seconds instead of 10. This is a really good change to Fury. This means basically Fury warriors get free wall strike costs, and they get 5 more seconds to use them, so you can be more relaxed about using them rather than having to spam them. Protection, the base damage of Shield Slam or Revenge has been reduced by 150%, but its abilities scale approximately 10% less effectively with attack power. This is so basically warriors hit a hell of a lot harder on the initial attack, and they don't overhit too much. This is more for aggro generation. This is not really a damage decrease or increase in any sort of way. And Raven Sentinel now improves the damage reduction of defensive stance by 10% for protection warriors. This is so any basically RBGs or even PvE protection warriors still have effectively a 25% reduced damage and defensive stance, and this is a good idea because basically protection warriors want to be able to reduce damage on themselves. So yeah guys, that's all the changes. Hope that was insightful. Hope I gave you guys some helpful tips. Hopefully you come out of that knowing a little bit more than what you did. All in all, I would say my judgment of warriors from what I've seen, I would say we're doing pretty good. I would say we're doing a lot better than Cataclysm, so just remember that guys. Anyone who's played warrior before in Cataclysm knows that we're still doing better than Cataclysm, and anyone who's played warrior in Cataclysm will have a good idea of how to approach 5.2, because basically it's a lot like Cataclysm, the style they pushed us back into. Although I do feel they should improve the stun on Shockwave to 5 seconds if we're going to make it a 40-second CD, because let's face it, things like Next Week or Asphyxiate are all 5-second CDs, you know. It's a little unfair to even Cyclone is 6 seconds. It's a little unfair to Warriors. I reckon they should increase that to 5 seconds, but that will be probably a change that will come up in say the next patch. Anyways guys, thank you for watching. This is Evio. I love you all. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next one.